best team at making things happen, as you mentioned. So kiting backwards, if they can get the objective lead, viable. If they lose it, gonna be tough.
I'd be pretty worried about KOO. We'll see if they can do it. Here we go, game one, CJ versus KOO. Let's see who takes the early lead. All right, welcome to Summoner's Rift for our first playoff match of Champion Summer. CJ Entus versus the KOO Tigers. The fans are psyched as well. And we will see if CJ is just as good as they were before the regular season ended, and we'll see if KOO Tigers can continue the momentum from their 2-1 victory over Najin in the wildcard match on Sunday. A lot of ifs coming from the KOO Tigers side, certainly the lesser proven of the teams in summer, and see if they can handle it. Looks like some deep boarding coming in from CJ to start things off.
You know, my big question here for Hojin is why the Elise? You don't really have very good ganking options, maybe for Smeb, but then again, it's going to be versus that Maokai, who can be very difficult to kill in the laning phase. Otherwise, he just doesn't have that many choices. And what is Elise going to be doing with this team composition in the late game? I think the answer is not very much, doesn't provide very much appeal.
Do you just try to hunt down the Evelynn, maybe?
You could try.
What you could say is that even though it's a mismatch with the other 4 champions, maybe it's just to baby them through the laning phase. Now, Hojin will have a lot of gank pressure in the early levels, even if it's on ideal targets. The situation where if you go all in on the Juggernaut, if you go all in on protecting the Kog'Maw, and again, they've got the Orianna rather than the Lulu, so there is a little bit more mid-game and late-game damage coming through from the Ori.
Yeah.
It can be too risky. You can fall too far away. So maybe it's just, Evelynn, do your best to control the first 15 minutes to let us scale up a little bit.
Crow was trying to mess with the saplings from Shy at the Raptor pit, but doesn't look like he's going to be able to. Looks like KOO will get that slightly quicker start. Very cleanly. Taking out the tiny Raptors.
An attempt at a lane swap here, but it's not going to come through. Space already in the top side, so we will get standard lanes, although inverted, and a very similar jungle start.
Looks like the lane didn't freeze in either direction. There was a small chance it'll start pushing in one way, but as you can see, level 1 trading in there.
Yeah, who's going to get the level 2 first, though? That's the question.
Nobody got any extra experience, so it's just going to be honestly on the minion wave control.
Well, Praying Gorilla should have a little bit of an edge via range. Smeb just going to teleport down to the bot lane, as will Shy. And we didn't expect to see a lot of action out of the early game from these teams anyway, so sit back, relax, get comfortable. It's going to be a little while till I have something to do.
And enjoy the Oceanic meta. We got the flip of the top and bot lane, so always nice to see. A little shout out to me, I think.
Land down under. Way to shout out to yourself.
Yeah, that's the way I like it.
Well, no one else is going to do it, so.
That's true. That's fair. That's fair.
It's a good line, though. Shout out to me. You have to remember that one.
It's a shout out to me from the players. You know,
Oh, okay.
That's why they went for this swap.
This is the Australia, the Ode to Australia.
That's the ode to
Matchup.
Australia.
I see.
I like it.
Keep that in mind. Why didn't you think of that while you were in Australia?
We did. We talked about it all the time.
Oh, did you? Oh, okay.
You weren't watching our cast.
I wasn't, I guess. The secret's out. Have you casted League of Legends before? I'm not familiar with your work. I'm sorry.
Once or twice.
Oh, okay, good. I feel so confident here. Check out that carry rating. 9 to 10. Ooh, 9.9 to 10.
And honestly, the carry rating is close, but these 2 players are close. They're both known to pack up and leave lane. They're both about the roaming. Gorilla in particular, even his Karma, he was happy to leave lane despite it being a very strong 2v2 champion. That's why it's surprising that Gorilla's certainly on field duty. He's on the Janna. His roaming options are a bit more limited, even though the champion's very quick. Mad Life has the Alistair, but for now, both of them are required to stick in lane.
I'm just saying that a Gorilla's on peel duty just is the funniest thing you've ever said.
There's no Soraka in the game, sadly.
No Sorakas, yeah.
To complete the banana.
Yeah, not going to be catching any bananas this time around. That's true. Well, we saw Hojin kind of lurking near the mid lane. He's coming back down again, but like we talked about earlier, there's not really a lot of ganking pressure coming in from this Elise because of the solo laners, because of the 2v2. So, you know, what will Hojin do? It looks like for now, the answer is meander around, kill jungle camps.
Well, he came to the mid lane earlier because he just was checking to see if there was going to be a gank when Kuro pushed the wave into the turret, and then he left after he saw Evelynn wasn't there. So it's not, he's not really looking for ganks, and he doesn't really have a very legitimate opportunity to move forward with any kind of early ganking, so I think it makes sense. Just let the lanes farm it out, and it really just plays into both CJ and KOO's wheelhouse. We may have a gank attempt here.
we'll see. Mad Life in space pushing up for now. Gorilla telegraphing it a little bit. Hojin not really finding the opportunity. There's a ward in River too, so he can only come in from that angle.
Yeah, they tried to bait space next to the wall for an auto attack on Gorilla. He didn't take the auto, so no wall cocoon to make things work.
Guess not.
For all the similarities of this team, both of them late-game team-fighting powerhouses. Both of them like to get objective control and then work around those win conditions. The one difference comes in the jungle. A stat that I found shows that Hojin puts down 25% more wards than Ambition. Ambition actually has the lowest wards placed of any starting jungler in the whole league, of all 10 teams. So it feels like Ambition, we think about what he does in games, often he's very aggressive. So it feels like he creates pressure by just ganking, going onto the enemy red buff, trying to contest, counter jungle, whereas Hojin, he seems to be mostly about creating defensive vision, and it kind of makes sense when you have KOO in your mid laner. You look at KOO, carry mid laner, can take over lanes. KOO, much more of the defensive laner. Of course, Orianna really fits that to a T.
Yeah, pretty much.
The strange thing about Ambition's wards place too, and them being so low, is we might expect that out of a player like Chaser or Eve, who prioritize Nidalee, but that hasn't been the case for Ambition, and yet he still has the lowest number of wards placed.
You need to buy those battle stats, so when you invariably get caught, you have that extra health to get away from the gank, of course.
The Ambition secret, I understand it now. Well, it's really not much of a secret, is it? But makes sense. Hojin may come in for a little bit of a gank on the KOO. KOO pushing up far. Looks like he's going to back off, though, so no opportunities there. You might have seen that ward go down, too.
I mean, you could say KOO's playing with fire a little bit. Didn't take cleanse this game when there is things to cleanse, so that's the only reason that you might see Hojin come in, because honestly, if he had cleanse, it would just be never bother to show up to that lane as, okay, KOO going for a roam.
That's clever. I mean, the ward showed that Evelyn was going for the Gromp, and now with Hojin there, they can just take it away. No Gromp for Ambition. He's Grompless.
Yeah, Hojin going for a deep invade, too. This presents its own level of risk right now.
Smited the big wolf away.
Actually about a level ahead in experience. Ambition really been on his farming game, despite actually, must have been sapping experience, because he's actually 2 CS behind at least.
Oh, interesting. It's a bit odd. Janna kind of, or Gorilla rather, kind of getting pushed down into mid lane, then back into his own jungle. He has space in Mad Life, trying to close in on them.
Meanwhile, in the boring lane.
All right, enough of that, yeah. Well, in this team matchup, all the lanes early on, maybe not as action-packed as we're used to.
This is definitely where I fast-forward the VOD another 20 minutes. And I'm like, this is going to be great.
We can't do that, Papa Smithy. It's live this time.
We can talk about other things, though.
That's true. Like how you shouldn't troll.
That's true.
Don't troll. Kespa doesn't want you to troll. They really care a lot, you know? When the Kespa chairman has got his Garagas cosplay going on and he's playing in bronze, he's like, oh, man. Jungle Master Yi again. Just because I died once in a lane, he won't leave me alone.
That's why he chooses to cosplay Gragas instead of Trundle. He's anti-trolling.
There you go. Anyone who doesn't play Trundle is anti-troll, really.
Zatai's a huge troll. Put it out there.
Cloud Templar. He's
Also
been known
a
to
troll.
troll from time to time.
Legacy troll.
Accidentally, even.
I mean, Hojin's trolled this season.
That's
so.
true.
Yeah.
I think Hojin needs one of those bracelets.
We need to warn him about the dangers of trolling.
They got a victory that
Oh.
game.
Yep, Smeb goes in onto Shy. It's a taunt. And Shy's going to walk away. Wow. He got low.
Well, what we haven't seen is that Shy has actually chipped down the bottom turret to about 2/3 HP right now, and Hojin's going to walk through a pink ward and get some wards down himself. So the pressure in this lane from the AoE clear from Maokai early has been actually doing work.
You can see Hojin's actually been falling behind experience. We've seen consistently about a level behind. Obviously, when it comes to Elisa's 6, not quite as critical as most champions with the change into the penetration. Maybe with a couple of items it's important, but when it comes to dueling, still going to be comfortable against Ambition. But draws out a pink ward, I guess, with his invade.
Now we'll just see the dual lane swap back down there. The Dragon becomes a more feasible opportunity after the first shop. Space doing very well in a rather tough lane, honestly, for Vayne, but has the Alistar, and that really does make a big difference.
Of course, you've got the sustain. You've got the ability to walk up and take a little bit more damage while you CS, because you know you're going to be able to get that life back again.
And Janna gives strength in windows when that shield is up, but obviously when it's down, it's Gorilla.
Oops, condemned against the wall. That's a decent amount of trading on Gorilla. Actually, there's a headbutt pulverized. Gorilla taking a lot of damage. Is this first blood? It is not, because of the heal coming in. Chenault used as well, too. They're going to go into space. Wow, what a turnaround from KOO Tigers. I don't know if that was a bait or just a great response by Smeb, but it worked.
That was a great bait. He knew exactly where Prey was with the Summoner heal, and that Smeb would be coming in with the Stand United.
You don't normally talk about top lane support synergy, but those two must have been communicating super on point, because it was literally frame perfect.
That was really smart. That was one auto away from Gorilla giving first blood to Space, and in the end, Space giving first blood over to Gorilla.
And the mind games were definitely won by KOO. Of course, Gorilla had that opportunity to flash, and Space should have read more into that situation, 100%. And that's also a fault in the communication of CJ, that he was not aware that Shen was in a place where he could ult.
Yep. Vision takes a bit of damage clearing out this pink ward, but yeah, what a great play by KOO to start things off. And for a team like CJ to forget about Shen, it's a little bit surprising to me.
One of the things we often talk about with KOO is the fact that, you know, their laning mechanics not the strongest. Gorilla's kind of a unique one there in that he is often in the top 10 of solo queue, despite being a support player, plays a lot of different roles. He's always been very mechanically sound, and something as simple as just knowing his limits in that particular trade shows why he's such a strong support player.
True enough. Well, the bot lane back to doing its thing now. Just a little bit of a lead for the KOO Tigers at this point. Almost 1,000 up. About 600 up right now.
Item timings maybe worth talking about. KOO does have the Athenes and Holy Grail already. Of course, KOO, interesting see where he goes with the Amtel. Will it be mana regen? Is up top.
That play on the Smeb. They know he's got no way to really get out except for Flash, which he uses, and he gets out. Well, that was not my best play-by-play moment ever, but you get the idea.
Well, maybe he won't get out next time.
maybe he doesn't have the amazing taunt flash into Orianna, ball carrier, a shockwave potential in a fight. Shen's flash cooldown actually surprisingly important, despite having the defensive option of the taunt in line.
And a nice little bit of punishment, too, from CJ. Making sure that they hold Smeb back just a little bit. So we'll see how much CS Shy can get out of this.
Going to start the Dragon right now. And we'll see if Victor can do anything about it. It's important to note that Gorilla does have a lot of more pressure on the map since he got the first blood and the faster Moby boots. They also have the Spiderlings to tank, so there's nearly no risk in at least attempting this.
Teleport coming in right now for Shy. Teleport's coming from Smeb as well. KOO should be able to secure this Dragon unless it gets stolen away, which it will not. KOO able to take it, but there's a fight. CJ wants to go in on this one. Hojin in trouble, goes down. KOO gets the kill already. Shy getting very low before he makes it out. One kill for CJ already. They try to follow, but I think that's going to be about it unless Space decides to really go ham, but he's not. CJ gets away with a kill. KOO gets away with the Dragon, though.
I think it's so important that KOO got that first Dragon. We talked about their composition. Yeah. They need to continue to take that priority. Both teams have good late-game scaling, maybe a little bit better to CJ, but stacking those Dragons, absolutely critical. Certainly worth sacrificing Hojin for this early.
You mentioned in the champs that CJ have a lot of flexible options in the late game. Engage, peeling backwards, kiting backwards. Whereas, you know, we look down KOO, we mentioned there's no good ball carrier. It feels like kiting backwards is their best win condition. So controlling Dragon is central to that being a realistic win condition in the late game. So as you mentioned, you take that trade if you're the KOO Tigers.
Not bad. After that, things still fairly normalized. Pretty even between these two teams. No turrets down yet, despite a little bit of poking here. Oh, will he get the pink ward? Trying to go for it. Yes, he does.
Tank wars.
Just taunt away, which makes not too much sense if you taunt away from something. Kind of defeats the purpose, doesn't it?
Well, Shen doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
It's true.
It's the living ninja paradox.
How does, like, dashing a direction taunt someone, too? Is he, like...
He yells things at him while he goes past.
It's like, you suck! like, oh, that guy, I gotta chase that ninja. Drive-by taunting.
That's how it works.
Yep.
He has to get really close to you, though, otherwise you can't hear him.
That's right. Well, I mean, with the mask over his face, it's like, and he's like, what do you say? I have to get closer so I can understand him. That's actually how he draws them in.
So now if that hitbox is ever buffed, we can conceptualize that as just getting a bit of vocal coaching to the Shen.
That's true, yeah. He's able to project a little bit better.
Yeah, got to project better.
It's important. KOO tried to take away his own Raptor, but Hojin was able to smite the big one. And Hojin's been all over this red buff all game, but that ward is probably going to keep him from doing anything else. Yeah, he needs to run.
Getting closer and closer to the exciting part of this match. I said 20 minutes time at 7 minutes, so We're getting there.
You know, it's been interesting so far. I mean, KOO getting that first dragon, and it was really close, too. Ambition was in position to maybe try to steal it, and it was a pretty critical moment because, like we talked about, I mean, with this composition on each side, that dragon is much more valuable to KOO early on than to CJ. That if KOO can keep the dragons rolling, they're kind of going to need it late.
Well, KOO could also be playmaking here, too. They don't have to necessarily play this passively because Smeb does have the Stand United available, and there's nothing else to use it for while the teleports are down. And they know that Smeb and Shy's teleports are mirrored, so we could see some more aggressive play, certainly from the KOO Tigers, should they decide to go for it. I think that diving the bottom lane is definitely feasible right now, and if they see Ambition, that's exactly what's going to happen.
Well, Shy just totally zoning Smeb out of his turret right now because Ambition's up there. Looks like they're going to try to dive it. Smeb could be in a little bit of trouble. A lot of turret damage coming in onto Shy. Smeb, no flash. Does he have another dash yet? Nope, that's about it. And really nice turret aggro juggling by Shy. It took just enough damage. KOO getting low, as did KOO. A duel in the mid lane results in no deaths, but first turret of the game taken finally by CJ. Shy did a great job in the bottom and the top lane of poking out those turrets, but KOO will answer right back in bot.
CJ get a little bit more. They pick up the kill in top. The mirror engage in bottom lane only gets the turret pressure. And wow, with all this happening, a 1v1 duel between Victor and Orianna. Surprised to see a control mage like Orianna actually go so even with Victor in that trade. All 4 summoners used.
I disagree with what we saw Smeb doing at the top side, though, because that turret was almost certainly going down no matter what he did. And had he backed off the tower, maybe he could have taunted underneath the tier 2 and then dove the bottom side. So I think KOO could have actually come out ahead right there, but Smeb played it a little bit too close to that tower.
Ambition picking up the kill actually leads to a big item purchase finish. The Aegis against Shen, Elise, Orianna, and Kog'Maw obviously doing mostly magic damage. It's basically 5 magic damage dealers for KOO in the early game, so Snowball Aegis feels pretty damn good for CJ.
Yeah, with a minute 30 till Dragon 2, you have to wonder how that's going to impact the next team fight between these two teams. Might be a little bit rough.
Space still kind of needs to go back and buy. He just has that Blade of the Ruin King, which means that there is a lot of threat onto him. He's not really going to be able to move around combat very well with such low move speed at the moment, especially since Prey is going to be chunking him pretty hard with that Trinity Force completed.
Shy with the Aegis buff. Going to be a god in the front line, you have to think. Mad Life takes a bit of poke damage. KOO obviously have the exact timer. Both teams do, but the Aegis makes it really difficult for me to see enough damage. Specifically, Kuro doesn't have a death cap. Feels like the damage isn't going to be there from the Orianna. Mostly going to be the CC effect. So getting that first pick and getting in a quick dragon looks difficult for KOO Tigers.
And we'll see. 40 seconds now.
The thing they have is full vision control, and part of that gank on Shen top was Hojin taking a lot out of the bottom side jungle and really starting to prep this with wards. So they've maintained that red buff control on the enemy for quite some time right now. They also have the turret down on the bottom side. So KOO, I don't think they're looking too shabby for this next dragon. Inevitably, CJ is going to have to face check.
Oh, so close.
And look at the pink ward right there. Notice that that's not going to be seen until Evelyn goes into the river where they could get a pick on her right there. So that's a really good pink ward.
Oh, wow. Space getting poked out a lot. That isn't going to be bad for Prey. Gets condemned against the wall, but Space needs to go on the run anyway. There's the exhaust fish right there. Taunt comes in as Shy comes out with the teleporter. Smeb does, rather. Gorilla's still in a bit of trouble, but Hojin comes in to save the day, and Prey's still chasing. Meanwhile, the mid laner's duking it out in the jungle. KOO chasing. There's another taunt on the Mad Life, but Smeb a bit low already. Prey, there's a shockwave. Doesn't do a whole lot, though. KOO backs away. Have they done enough damage to take this dragon, though?
Big misfire using the shockwave like that, and now, of course, it might even give CJ the confidence to come and contest this dragon, knowing that such a vital cooldown. If you hold on to it, suddenly the effect of the zoning is massive. But seeing that misfire, it'll empower CJ to really fight for this dragon.
Yeah, Smeb has a TP advantage. He already went back to base to heal up again. KOO is going to go after the dragon right now, and CJ with not a lot of life. A flash from Hojin. They're going to catch Mad Life, and there's a kill for Kuro. KOO in trouble too. Smeb came from behind. CJ just a bit too low. They should have left it alone. Gorilla low as well too. They still want this dragon. looks like they should be able to get it now.
Well, that was just a massive misplay.
Yeah.
They're really playing poorly around the Shen this game, CJ. Smeb had the TP up, like you said, was able to go back to base, and yet they were still trying a flanking maneuver. And remember that side of the jungle has been littered with KOO's wards. So many possible targets for them to go on as we take a look at this replay.
Well, Shy is just right there.
And it's all about the flank coming through from Shen. Gives KOO no exit route. Remember, we talked about these two junglers. The warding jungler versus the fighting jungler. Aegis completed meant nothing. The wards that Hojin and friends got when they invaded that bot side jungle meant everything.
And they took the mid lane turret after the dragon also. This is definitely looking like a solid game for the KOO Tigers. They're playing out their composition very well, and CJ just continues to play poorly around the Shen. After this game, I think Shen is just going to be banned for the rest of the series.
It seems that way. I mean, Smeb is certainly having no problem with it, and for some reason, for some bizarre reason, CJ is having a problem playing against the Shen. You know, for a team that's really made a reputation off of their Shen play recently, it's odd to see them seemingly kind of forget the vulnerabilities of playing against it. It's very bizarre.
I just don't get what Evelyn does for CJ and their win conditions. Evelyn, okay, she can cause a lot of pressure in the early game, but the only person that requires pressure from CJ is KOO. He's the carry player. Ganking for the top lane tank, whatever Shy's playing, it's basically a tank role player, is important, but Ambition never got anything done for KOO, and the farm lane suits Kuro to a T.
KOO trying to defend their turret here. Hojin is there clearing out wards. Oh, taunt attempt onto space. Smeb just takes a lot of auto attacks for his trouble. But they do save the turret for the moment. Looks like it should go down pretty soon, though.
The lack of wave clear in this lane is being abused right now, even though Vayne can't punish it either. But Prey getting work done. Shy down to about a third HP on that top side, so we may just see an even trade right here. Looks like we will. Smeb abandoning the tower. That's what I think he should have done the last time he was in this situation.
Yeah. So will be turret for turret, tier 1 and bottom for tier 1 and top eventually. KOO should be able to get it. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Kuro has been able to barely keep his turret alive against KOO, and that's going to provide them, even more map control now, as they have all three outers now.
And when it comes to Bailey around the mid tower, that's the critical factor, is that you just don't have those spots to put wards. It really decreases the information that CJ have. So the longer you can keep that up, the more comfortable it will be for KOO, as it is kind of scale on and get towards the third dragon and that fifth dragon win condition.
Oh, that's the plan, I suppose. They've got two already. And Kuro, see if he can land a little bit better shockwave than we saw from last fight. Doesn't work to shockwave yourself too often.
Ball carrier situation's difficult. We mentioned that,
It is.
but the thing is, not using the cooldown is so much more important than just misusing, because the threat is so strong, specifically as the AP starts to ramp up. Right. But if you just do the hula hoop, it's not a good time.
Well, it's still peel at least for Prey.
Sure.
I mean, you can command attack to his zone and have that shockwave available to keep the Kog'Maw safe. And I'd imagine that's going to be a lot of how we see this Orianna used, but definitely don't want to do the hula hoop, like you said. I've never heard it called that before. It's funny.
It's an Atlas special. Oh, right, Atlas.
Shout out to me as well.
Yep, shout out to you.
I just thought I'd throw that in there. We're doing today's shout out to me.
Hey, man.
For Atlas's description.
It's the playoff. Shout out all the people. I like it.
Yeah. Monte Cristo will shout himself out at some point during the broadcast.
I mean, the evolution of Orianna as a champion has been super interesting to me, Doa, just because it was all about the initiation shockwaves. And then it was when people started to understand that just leaving the ball in aggressive positions and controlling where people could go was actually more powerful than something that could be flashed out during the animation.
Man,
that's why.
If you want a Malphite friend,
Orianna. Malphite Orianna. Bronzodia all the way.
That's right. Back in like 2011 and 12, that's like all my friend and I did.
Hey man, still
Malphite Orianna.
Yeah, low elo solo queue, still great.
It was, it's still a lot of fun for sure. I'm sure Malphite is banned a lot in Korea now though after Sunday.
That's what happens.
Yep. The Champions effect.
At least we see less mid Aurelia now. That was the thing in Korean solo queue, and that was a sad time.
Well, I liked it when I saw it on the other side of the match because it meant my team would probably win.
That's fair.
That was nice. So KOO positioning around Baron now. Minute 30 until Dragon comes up, and they don't seem to be putting as high a priority on the vision. Smeb lurking in the bushes.
Not on Malphite this time.
Crab walking away. No, he's like, maybe I'm No, I'm not Malphite. I'm Shen. I have to get out of here.
That was super